Hi, everyone. Michelle DeAmber here. I wanted to share something that's been something I've had to deal with the last 5 or so years, and that's inflammation. Prior up to menopause, I didn't deal with a lot of inflammation. I remember maybe in my 30s, I did have some inflammation and it showed up on a C-reactive protein test. And, I worked on my diet. That's when I started eating healthier. Quite honestly, in my 30s, when I had this show up, I had just, my grandmother had passed away, but I was her caretaker. I was partly one of her caretakers. So I had been through some stress at the time. So I made some changes in my diet and that helped with the inflammation. Then in my 40s, I started going through menopause and my body chemistry switched dramatically because my adrenals and thyroid were under so much stress going through the menopause that the things that were like, if I was stressed before, I would lose weight, or, everything just became opposite because I went from the alarm stage of stress to the exhausted stage of stress. And I've had to kind of navigate through that. It was really hard for me because I was working out a lot. And then I got to a point where I just couldn't work out at all. So I've seen, using hair mineral analysis the last 5 years, the inflammation that I was feeling, the symptoms, and what that looked like on a hair test. And we know these patterns because they analyze this, thousands of hair tests of people complaining about the same thing with certain patterns. So that's how we know that these will cause those symptoms. So in my own personal experience, which I'm sharing, is the inflammation was from having high sodium, higher than ideal. And it was also from having high sodium to potassium ratio. This is a very important ratio. And when it's way above ideal, it'll cause inflammation. And then I've also had intermittently the past couple of years a calcium shell. And that will play a role in inflammation because the calcium comes out of the bones and starts to deposit into the soft tissue. So if you, picture calcium that you see depositing on your faucet, and that's depositing in the soft tissue. So you can imagine how that it doesn't feel so good. So I went from a very flexible person who did yoga to not being very flexible and not being able to get on the floor and to bend over and do this thing. It was actually very humbling to feel that way. You feel very old when you can't do those things. So what did I do to reduce that? Well, I made some changes in the past 6 months of my life. There was just things in my life that were affecting me negatively. So I had to make those changes. I also I do accounting as well as my coaching business, and I've reduced some of my accounting work. And I also just got over the busy season, which is January through April, with my clients who are preparing for their tax returns. So reducing all of this stress, and then my program, I changed it a bit to add more magnesium because magnesium helps lower sodium, and it also will help balance the calcium to magnesium ratio and bring the calcium down. So I did that, and I went through some periods, quite honestly, that were very painful, waking up in the middle of the night. It was like I can feel the calcium moving from my soft tissues back into my bones. It was extremely painful. But on the other side of it, I feel so much better. I am now on the floor, bending over. I can squat all the way down. I can do things that I haven't been able to do in years because the sodium and the calcium shell is gone. The sodium is lowered and the calcium shell is down, and my sodium to potassium ratio is now closer to normal. I feel so much better. So I just wanted to share that with you because it's a personal experience as well as understanding it from a hair mineral analysis and symptoms. This is what I personally went through. And the people that have inflammation, you got to kind of look at first, are you on a good program that can help you reduce that inflammation? Are you actually applying the diet and program to your life? And then, looking at the stressors that are in your life. So if you're exercising, which I have clients come to me that have these same patterns and they're still exercising and doing cardio and running and things like that. And they're frantic because they want to be able to do that to release these happy hormones, they're addictive, and then also to lose weight. But when you're in those patterns and you have that kind of stress going on, you're not going to be able to lose weight by stressing your body out more. So if you look at it as your body is not able to handle stress because of the low adrenal and thyroid activity, putting more stress on it isn't going to help you. Just imagine a car that's running out of gas. Are you going to double the speed to the gas station? So that's what people are doing, is that they're just frantic trying to overcome this, but they're using stress to overcome. So that's not going to work. So we got to change our strategies. With the things that worked when we were younger and had more adrenal and thyroid activity are not going to help you in middle age or older. We have to change our strategies. So in this case, sleeping more. For me, I still don't sleep through the night. I never have. My sleeping has gotten better since I've gotten out of these stressful patterns, but I still wake up periodically. So instead of waking up every hour, I might wake up every 3 hours. After I get up at 6 a.m. and feed the dogs, I go back to bed. So if you're able to alter your schedule to get more sleep in, even if it's incorporating a nap, that's really important in healing. And then the other thing is to lay off the stressful workouts and maybe do walking instead. I know that doesn't seem like it would help, but it really does, because you want to do the opposite. You don't want to stress out a stressed out body. You just think of a seesaw. You want to balance it out, so you have to do something opposite. And then the harder thing to do for a lot of people is to really evaluate who or what in their life is causing stress. And, it could be a combination of you not being able to handle it, and it could be the other person, so sometimes we have just toxic people in our life, and, that's okay. We've all been toxic people to others, but sometimes we just have to make these changes in our life so that we can feel better. If you really want to feel better and you want to not have a disease later on in life, then you're probably going to have to make some really hard choices and decisions in your life today that will help you live a healthier, better life, going forward. So if the people in your life are not understanding that you need more sleep and less stress and things like that, then, maybe evaluating whether they should be in your life or not. Because the people that truly love us and that are healthy themselves will understand this. And if they're not, then, sadly, we just need to separate ourselves from them. So that one's a hard one. I'm not going to pretend that one is easy and that happens overnight. But, if you really want to work on these things, you're probably going to have to take a look at those hard things. Sometimes it's our job. We have to go look for a healthier job environment. And, I had a conversation with somebody the other day and they're like, how do you reduce stress? Well, honestly, you got to look at your life. For me, I don't want to owe a lot of money. So, buying a big house, expensive car with a big car payment, things like that, that's self-induced stress. For me, I rather downsize. I rather drive a used car. I rather not have expensive things in my life because I don't want the stress of having to earn all that money to pay for it. So, these are the things that we really need to look at. Stress management is just managing a stressful life environment. I'm more about reducing stress, reduce the stress in your life. And a lot of it is just, we were born and living in toxic, dysfunctional environments. So we're addicted to the hormones of stress, and they can be very addictive. Anybody who's gone on a run and gotten like a runner's high knows what that feels like. And that's, we're constantly searching for that feel good. But, why do we need that feel good? Like, what is it about our lives that, sorry, I'm looking at my dog over here. That's my little Chihuahua, Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine. Animals are very stress reducing. I have 3 of them, so I love up on them every night. Hi, baby girl. You want to come up? Oh, okay. Anyway, so, reducing the things that are causing us stress. And sometimes we just have to sit down and think about that, journal. You know what they are. And the hardest part is making the decision to do something about it. So we have choices. I mean, sometimes we don't. There might be a single mom who's got, all these kids that she's trying to raise. I understand that. So you might have to try and manage your stress, and make these decisions that are going to point you in a direction to have reduced stress, in your life. I don't know what that is for everybody. I'm just more or less trying to get you to think about it, and know that there's always a way out. It's just making the decision that we want to make these changes in our life. So if you are dealing with chronic inflammation, I invite you to get a hair test to see what that looks like in your hair test, to get on a supplement and a diet program that will help reduce it. And if that works, then great. If you have something in your life that's actually causing the stress, then once your body feels better, you'll be able to evaluate those things and be brave enough to make those decisions, to change your life, the people in it, your work, whatever it is that's causing the stress. So anyway, thank you so much for listening, and let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment, a like, a subscribe, and thank you so much. Bye.